Monday night, not the easiest thing to do. Had some technical difficulties, but we're on and we are live. Thank you for your patience in getting on here tonight. I do see there's a bunch of folks here in the channel, so glad you guys are here. I hope you're having fun talking amongst yourselves. Q&A tonight. It's going to be a little bit abbreviated because of this and everything that's going on here, but I was at camp today and I want to share my thoughts with you in general. When you take a deeper look, not position specific, I'm sure we'll get into questions on that. Overall, it feels like the team was able to take what they did against the Niners and kind of step it up and get to the point where they're continuing through. And I do feel that there are some good spots where they can take some more steps forward. I don't think they're done. And so that, I think, is encouraging. What I saw out there today was a team that, even though it was not super heavy practice, that was putting out a lot of effort, getting a lot of things done. And I thought the intensity was there. And I thought that was a good thing from my perspective to see. Now, this is my first practice this year, so I can't measure it against the others. But I will be back out there tomorrow and be able to give you a little bit more feedback. I am a little bit challenged on desktop space and obviously equipment not going the way it's supposed to tonight. So we will try to get through this. Forgive me, anybody with super chats that I have not seen. I will take care of you. I will try to get caught up. I don't have multiple screens tonight, but we'll see what we can do to get there. There are a number of things, and I see one here. We'll get started with that, and then we'll get into the questions, and I'll try to get through. We're going to end at the top of the hour because I will be out of time regardless, but we will get to that right now. Travis Anderson, thank you for the support for your super chat, and I will look for a question. I'm guessing right down here below. And Aaron, thank you for holding the fort down. I'll see you in the morning, and I appreciate the effort tonight. Nothing's ever really smooth when you're on not in your home spot. So I appreciate your guys' patience and support. I want to backtrack just a little bit to some of the comments I can see. Samuel, do you think that the O-line will handle the Cardinals' first team D? If we see all of the Cardinals' first line D, I think that they're in a good spot to take what they did the other night and move it forward. The question for me, as per usual, will be the rookies. With Niang getting the right tackle spot still today, I think that's a positive sign. So I want to see that come together a little bit more. Will it work out that way? I don't know. If they are full strength, the Cardinals, that is, expect there to be a few more hiccups as there's some adjustments made, but I think that's all going to work out just fine. Not too worried about that. Let's see. Michael, I appreciate that. Yeah, mobile hotspots are a little bit tough. When you're talking, especially when I get a chance like this, and that was kind of the thing, like I get to use really great equipment and just had some things that got in the way a little bit. So I'm trying to make the most of this. This is what it would look like if I ever get real internet at home. You guys will definitely see something more like the quality that you're seeing here tonight. And again, kudos to JT Photography for giving me studio space. Jimmy asked, why wouldn't you rather have Jody as tight end 3? Bell to practice squad. Then, if we need an extra blocker, groom Wiley as a tackle eligible. I'm with you on everything but the tackle eligible. I think it's a gimmick play. If Wiley can do that, like Fisher did, and make a play out of it every now and then, that's great. I don't think you have to groom that. I don't think it's necessarily a thing. I'd rather see them use the 6 linemen as the blocker and actually do what they do and make the most of it. That's what I would be doing with it. But that is true. And I think that this is a plausible scenario. I've said for the last couple of weeks, and I may be out on a limb here. I'm not sure if anyone around Chiefs Kingdom agrees with me. But the thing is, if Jody Fortson puts out enough pass catching potential demonstration of what he can be in a regular season to help this team win games, it eventually will outweigh the blocking aspect of a tight end. Again, because you can bring in a 6th lineman. So it is that balance. Now, does it have to be 50% more? Does it have to be, does it have to be astronomical? The difference in the output, I don't know. Only the staff will know that. But I think it's going to come down to an interesting decision if he continues to put up nice catches in practice, but he also has to do it in games. We'll see what happens in this next one. But I like the way that it's trending. I'll put it that way for Jody Fortson. And you guys know, talked to him before he even took his first practice, and I pull for the guy to this day. So here's to him getting it done. Let's see. I like this one, Paddock. Just try smacking the thingamajig. Yep, I like that. This is not Aaron's fault in any way. I didn't see the rest of the comments, but please don't put it on him. This is all my doing. Trying to get too fancy, I think. Could Thornhill be on the trading block? Why is he running with the threes? Andy addressed this today and said that he's working through something, which is a little bit concerning because we heard in the last couple of weeks that he should be fine. I don't think he's on the trade block in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what's going on. And I didn't see anything wrong with what he did today in terms of like physical movement or anything like that. Is there new wrinkles that he's adjusting to? Is it a confidence thing and being able to actually just put the pedal down and go? That may be some of it. We'll have to see what happens in this next game. It could also simply be that he wasn't able to put in full reps in OTAs and he got a slow start to camp. They held him out for a few days. Like maybe this is catch up. I can't say yet. I'll have another hard look at Juan Thornhill tomorrow, and we'll see what he does in the second preseason game, and maybe that will give us more insight and a little bit more idea of what's going on. Let's see. Any concern about Harrison's PAT? No, Ryan, I'm really not. If they start winning and losing 3-point games, I'll start to be a little bit more concerned about it, but until that point, it's an anomaly. I know it's a little more frequent than normal, but I don't think it's anything to be up in arms about yet. The chat says, we are going till midnight since you were late. That's awesome. And I hope that you guys do. I just won't be here for it. The other nice thing about when I'm traveling and I'm here in KC is not only do I have this that I can do with some nice equipment, I also have family here as well. So my niece and nephew are my focus tonight, so I will be paying attention to that. Odins, thank you. Appreciate the support, buddy, and the patience. Let's see here. Brian Beckwith. Is Saunders on the roster now? I saw him getting interviewed with Matt McMullen. Okay, I didn't see the interview. Yeah, Saunders has been on the roster all camp. He definitely is, and he looks like he's rounding into shape. I thought he might have been a little heavy in OTAs from some of the pictures I saw. Evidently, what I saw today, he was a little bit leaner. I don't know if that's a change or it's just like the images that I saw. But I will tell you this. He's coming off the ball well. He's coming off the ball with confidence. And today, if you missed my Twitter account, I put some video on there of Coach Daly coaching him up about what he wants, extension, how he wants to get off of blocks. And I thought that was really telling because he's performing pretty well. I thought he had a good first game. We'll see what he does in the second game. I'm very optimistic about Colin. You guys remember that from the pre-draft times. Scott, just how big a part of the offense will Jerry McKinnon be? Because, and how high is his ceiling? Is there a scenario where he becomes the backup? Yes. I think that would likely require Daryl to be hurt. Now, Daryl's had a couple of nagging injuries. That's certainly a possibility. You could get a few games with McKinnon as the backup. I think, honestly, he's going to be the relief, the third guy role, and I think that's perfectly fine because I think at his age, I believe he's 29 at this point, and his injury history, you want to keep those touches low. Make him – I think he's a guy that can maximize the touches that he does get and get his full performance of it, and I think that helps the team the most. I think overloading Jerick McKinnon would be an issue, likely in the long term rather than the short, but I think that is something to keep in mind. Gary, how are you? Could they cut Hitchens? They owe him $11 million. If they cut him, they save $7 million. It would take so much. It would take Nick Bolton becoming an all-star, basically. You'd have to put in an all-pro camp. I don't see that happening. Hitch is going to be here. It's going to be Hitch and Willie on the field for the majority of the snaps. When obviously all of them when they have two linebackers. And I'm hoping that means that they play more two-backer dime and two-backer nickel more than bringing in the safety into the box. Dan Sorensen is a good box safety, but I think he's a box safety. I don't think he's truly a linebacker. I want to see, especially with the speed that Willie has, I want to see him be on the field with Hitch all the time when they're in the nickel. And if they can figure out something, maybe when they go three up front, they could work it in another way as well. Ian, why not cut Blake Bell, keep Fortson, and use Burton in spots where you'd have Blake Bell blocking? Well, here's the thing: is Burton's a good blocker. But he's a fullback. He's a good fullback blocker. He's not a tight end. I think he's given up 3 inches there to Blake Bell, and a good deal of arm length as well. And so that changes the geometry of making those blocks. I think that's important. I certainly don't mind the idea of keeping 3, putting 1 on the practice squad. I personally don't feel, and maybe I'm wrong, But I don't feel around the league that the reputation of either Fortson or Bell is going to have teams come and call. I think you can put one of them on the practice squad pretty easily. And I think Matt corrected me last week. You have two chances. Pull them up, swap them out, whatever. I think you can do that and still have your guys available for the roster when you need them. That's what I would be looking at. Pono, how are you out there? I think Bolton looked tentative, and Orlando looked a step slow on the edge rushers going around him. Yeah, it's not that he's a step slow. It's new technique. It's trying to get more vertical than he's used to. Like I said, I told you when he was signed, it's going to be a transition. I don't think this is anything to be too worried about with Orlando Brown. He's going to be absolutely fine. He's going to be a monster, and I think he's going to be a mainstay of this line for years and years to come. Nick Bolton may have looked tentative. I didn't really pick up on that very much. Again, just watching the broadcast, I don't always see those kind of things. I usually rely on all 22 for that, and I don't have that in the preseason. And hopefully we won't have it. We won't be without it much into the regular season, knock on wood. Adam, are you going to have Kay Adams on, or why did she call you out? Kay is welcome here anytime she wants. Kay, I hope that you see this. I somehow doubt that you will, but I never thought you'd listen to the podcast either. Kay listened to the Locked On Chiefs podcast, Chris and I did, where I expressed my surprise that network would have put her on the Chiefs beat to cover the preseason. That's all. I think she wanted a little bit warmer welcome, but she did it in what I took as a joking way. I think she was fine. It was a little tongue in cheek, but super nice. Not a problem. No beef at all, you guys. Let's see. Ryan, just your opinion, is Fortson receiving threat ability more valuable to this team than Bell's blocking ability? I do believe that's the truth. Again, because there are plenty of backup linemen that you can bring in when you want a pure blocker. And quite frankly, I really hope that we see that. There was more run out there at camp today, so I'm looking forward to that. Right, Todd? Super chats for more hamsters. We got to grow the colony is what I like to say. If something happened to Brown, would Remmers step in? How would that look different being next to Tooney instead of Allegretti like the Super Bowl? I don't think it was a question of communication with the guard. I thought it was an athleticism limitation that got the better of Remmers. So you can't really say that that's going to improve. That said, I do feel like it was a combination of the fact that they had multiple guys out, multiple backups in, facing a good pass rush that understood that they had deep zone coverage behind them that they could tee off and they were going to get a little bit extra. Were they more efficient in it? Yes. I don't know that the same result will happen. I don't know if that was the way that would stay either. You might see a situation where we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if he stays there as the backup left, because what that tells you is that they feel like Niang is going to be able to win that job. At least they did today. We'll see what they do tomorrow. If that switches back, then obviously we're talking about a different scenario. Is it possible that if Remmers is the backup left and Niang is the starting right and Orlando Brown misses a game, does Niang move over? I tend to doubt it, but I won't put it out of the realm of possibility. And in that case, then you would be looking at Mike Remmers, at least right now, as the backup. I think that's the best option that they have. I think Wiley can play competently at right tackle. I don't know about left. I personally wouldn't risk it. And Prince Tagovailoa, I don't think that he's ready to be the backup. We'll see if that comes to pass as well. 49ers Team Radio said that the practice squad was 16, not 12. Are they mistaken? I heard it on the NFL Chiefs 49ers highlight video. They may have, as I understand it, and we don't have an official announcement at this time, but I understand from a couple of different sources that it is going to be 12 like it was originally before COVID. But hey, there could be oscillations back and forth in the NFL offices right now. I have no idea if they're considering it and just not there, or when we know, we'll know, and I'll let you guys know immediately. Jacob, is it possible that Warren Thornhill isn't panning out? I don't think so. I think I could be wrong. I was high on him pre-draft. I do pull for him. I think that he has it in him, so I might be a little biased there. I think that there's some hiccup in his progression in recovery from the injury. I think the player that was there as a rookie is still there. You just got to take care of whatever the issue is to get him back on the field, and I think that will work out. With what you've seen from playing San Francisco, how many rush yards will CEH get this year? I still feel that he's in for 1,000-yard season, especially if they emphasize the run as much as the play call. Not just that it was San Francisco. You got to remember, San Francisco didn't play their starting D-line, so that's not necessarily there. Let's see what happens now. JC was just a conversation with Kay on Twitter. She just was talking to Josh and cued us in to know that she had checked out the podcast and that maybe we could have been a little warmer and welcoming her to town. Any market value for Hitchens if Gay and Bolton turn into Batman and Robin, aka Dominic do it? Not this year. I don't think Hitchens is going anywhere. He is your leader. He has to be the big brother in the room. I don't think that's going to change. I know your play calling was very nearly. How about? I keep telling you guys. And I will say this: nothing against Anthony Sherman, but Burton's got a little bit more juice in him athletically. It's an age thing. It's not a condemnation in any way. Ian, assuming Willie plays in this next game, do you think he will see many of the plays Gay and Bolton only being the linebackers on the field? I think we will definitely see that because that's what they want to get a glimpse of now. That doesn't mean that they're going to do it this season because if Hitch is there, he's the best linebacker you have all around right now. That's just the fact of the matter. He's not the most athletic. That's the difference. But yeah, they have to try it out and get a feel for it. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Obviously, the chances of Darwin making it to the practice squad are slim. Are his days in case he numbered? I don't think they're necessarily slim. I don't think anybody's coming for Darwin Thompson. I think you can get him in the practice squad as well. I don't know that he has value anywhere else in the league, to tell you the truth. So you got to remember, you guys, especially if it's like a non-starting caliber, running backs are a dime a dozen in the NFL. Robert, I think the CBDB group held their own. Does that make the LB the spot for adding as cuts are made? Possibly. Going to be tough, though, because if you're going to keep 10 DBs and 10 defensive linemen, you got to thin it out at linebacker. You're talking about 5. I don't know what happens. Could you really upgrade? Maybe. Could you upgrade somebody that's going to take snaps away from Bolton and Gay? I don't think that would be the necessarily right thing to do. Let's see. Ian, any chance they release Okafor? No. I don't see it happening. Matt is the schnickel. I think that's how you say that. I'm not sure. Very good. Uses his eyes and gives you that. It is important. People can. And we're back mostly, I think. There was a blip there, not sure. People can be wrong, is what I was saying. I don't think that it's the end of the world, but there is always some interpretation that happens with coaching staffs as well. So at the end of the day, how the coaching staff evaluates players, we can only tell you what we see or have an opinion on, whether it's in person like Matt or remote like me. It comes down to what the staff is going to evaluate and what they favor in terms of a trait here or a process here that they find more important. Gary, how do you feel about Fortune making this team? I think his chances are improving. I can't tell you it's going to happen yet, but I think he's still continuing to improve, and I think that is a positive sign. After the game, any guy you can see as a surprise cut? I don't think anyone really stepped on it too bad. But I got to tell you, I'm looking for more from some of the veteran DBs, guys that have a little experience. Like I expect Will Parks to play more in this second game, and I think that might earn him more playing time in the regular season. Edward, nobody talks about Javarius Ward. What's the deal? Because he's not making plays. He's not standing out. He's solid. He's his normal self. I think part of that is being a gamer. I think preseason is a big deal for a guy who was slated to be a starting cornerback. So let's hope that he gets his hand on a ball or two, gets some PBUs in the preseason. If not, I think he will show up come week 1. WW, was Willie a go in practice? Yes, he was full go. He was moving around nicely. My favorite part, he got sent on a couple blitzes, and I really liked his effectiveness. I think that's going to be a part of the game, and I'm crossing my fingers that they use Willie as the blitzer rather than the DBs when it comes to like when you have to get a 5th guy to get in and add a little bit of pressure. Tom Davis, thank you very much for the support. I appreciate it. I hope you have a question too. I will look for it down below. How severe was Long's fracture? Is he more than 3 months at the end of the recovery or waiting 6 months? I don't know. They haven't released any details. For what I understand, it's something to do with the tibia. There are a couple of things that it could be. One of them is a little bit more severe. I expect him to be on the PUP first 6 weeks. Anything after that is complete hearsay on my part. I have no input. I've got no information on him. It depends on the rehab and it depends on the person. He is 33 years old, so it's more than likely to be longer than shorter. Put it that way. Does Fountain have a chance? He absolutely does. Right now, I have him on this roster. And another guy who has some really unique athleticism that I think adds to what this team needs in a different way than the other receivers do. Tom, does Frank play this year or does he get suspended? I think if he was going to get suspended, it would already happened. I don't expect there to be a court date of any significance before the end of the season. So my guess is if it comes, it'll be afterwards. Christo, does Jarek, I think that's his name, it is, look like Damian Williams to you? He does not. I think he has more burst. I think he has more speed. I don't think he's quite as stout running on the inside. I do think he looks a little bit. Damian was a pretty good catcher of passes, but I think Jarek looks a little bit more comfortable with that, a little bit more natural. Terrell, I think the run game is slowly switching from zone to gap based on the current personnel. I mean, we're seeing that because they're adding the gap type plays, the man type blocking. What the percentage is come the regular season, I can't really tell you. I think that they're doing that more because they need to practice it. Simple need. Something new in the offense, you need to practice it more. I think it's going to come out. It will be increased. I don't think that it's going to overtake the volume of zone runs that they run. Or more importantly, that Andy calls. Is Brown an upgrade over Fisher? To me, it's an obvious yes. Fisher was maybe average. Fisher was above average. Was he elite? No. Orlando can be elite. Again, it will be a transition this particular year. I think he will do that. I think he is your long-term left tackle when it is all said and done. Longmorn, thank you for your support. If Hitch plays with that speed and hits that hard all season, why would you want to trade him? Exactly. He played as well as he's played in Kansas City last season, as long as he can stay healthy. And quite frankly, I sound like a broken record, I know, but the addition of Jaron Reed with Derek Nottie, who has slimmed down and looks more explosive to me as well as the improvement of Colin Saunders and Turk Wharton, you have tackles in front of him that protect him better, that allow him to run and use his athleticism to his utmost. And I think that's key for Anthony Hitchens having a great season. Niang had a solid first appearance, certainly some positive to build on. You are absolutely right, Jimmy, and I want to see what happens against a little bit higher competition, not a backup, and I hope that that's what the Cardinals throw at him. Alex, cheers. Enjoy the RGR gear. It's a good time, and if you have input, I do want some feedback, you guys. If you're ordering shirts and sweatshirts, hoodies especially, let me know how you like them. I want to know the feedback of this store as a vendor because I am considering going a different direction. Let's see. Lego. Do you like the week 12 bye? If not, what week we really be? I do like the week 12 bye. I like it a little bit later. You power through more games up front and you get that rest at what I think is a more critical time. The key is week 9, week 10, week 11. Can you avoid major injuries in those 3 weeks so that week actually is rest and not recovery from guys that you already lost? That's going to be the key. Christo, so do you think Cornell gets more snaps this game? He looked great in limited snaps. He did against deep backups. I do think he gets more snaps this game, and I need to see him beating twos before I have a better feel for what he's actually going to be capable of this year in real games against starters. It doesn't bother me if he spends a year on the practice squad to adjust. I think that's perfectly fine, but I know a lot of folks would be disappointed with that. Let's see how he progresses here. 2 more preseason games. Do Trey and Yang start week 1? At this point, I do think so. We'll see what happens with Remmers. See if they alter anything tomorrow, and I'll give you that tomorrow when I see it. But yeah, right now I would lean that way. What do you think of switching the second unit around, flipping Allegretti and Blythe for a couple of drives with Durant and Wiley? I don't see the upside. That's just me. I think that would be more distracting than anything, especially for guys like Durant and Allegretti in particular, who have, I think, fallen into a specific role. I would like to see them be there and get better. Aaron, thank you very much. If you are a starting member in the memberships, you can send me the email to there. I know a couple of you have emailed while I'm traveling. I haven't had a chance to do that stuff. I will try to get back to that once I get home here later this week. Jake, thank you very much. Assuming the best scenario, Brown plays at close to approval level. Reed gets double-digit sacks. Ooh, that would be a big one. And helps Jones and Clark get there. And Tyrann Mathieu is still Tyrann Mathieu. Whose priority on the contract extension? First, I think Tyrann will be done before the season. I still feel like that way. I'm going to keep being optimistic that it'll be done sooner than later. Chris Jones won't get an extension anytime soon. He just got one. Even if he were to lead the league, like, you could make a case for, hey, if you lead the league in sacks, you should get a bump there. That would be a conversation, but I think Tyrann Mathieu is clearly the one that would take the priority. After that, then it's a question. Nelson, and thank you, Jake. Appreciate the support. What do you think of Hughes as a return on special teams in San Francisco's game? He was a beast at UFC in that role. I thought that was his best role. I thought he got out physical a couple times on routes, but I think the kick return actually elevated the rest of his game as well. Like, give him something he's good at. I think that helps his confidence. I think that's really good for the player. And I think it helps McCole Hardman not have to do as much as well. I really hope that they can avoid putting Hardman back to return punts, kicks, etc. Oh man, I'm falling behind. Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to speed through these as best I can. Ben brought back. Thank you as always. Contributor extraordinaire. We appreciate that. I will find something from you down here, I'm sure. Chances of Amari Cobb being the fifth linebacker, not out of the realm of possibility. I think Harris has the lead now. I think Harris has had the lead. Cobb flashed, though. If he flashes again and he shows the ability to be a complement to what they already have, meaning they have three guys that they want to call the defense, that they feel can call the defense, in Hitch, Neiman, and Bolton. If you can be that other Will that can spell Willie from times, I think that could be his key. If he continues that was more athleticism than I saw out of him all last season, preseason or otherwise. So let's see if he can do it again. Ben, do we have enough in-house O-line depth? That's a question. All of a sudden, what we thought was a plethora at right guard is really thin, right? I think they're going to get some of those guys back. Clearly, LDT is a hand. He'll be back by week 1 if I had the timeline right. I do think that this puts the kibosh on trading Andrew Wiley because I think you got to have a quality backup of his caliber. And yes, I do think overall they have enough volume, but I don't think they can lose anyone else without starting to get a little nervous. Christo, I noticed last year it felt like Frank always had the biggest games versus the Chargers because of the lack of good LT. How do you think he'll do against Slater and all the hype around him? Slater's still a rookie, you guys. Frank's gonna get some on him. Slater's gonna win some too. He's a pretty good athlete. But I think you can count on Frank having pretty good games against the Chargers. Gold Towel. Why did it seem Thornhill played the entire game? He missed a lot of reps in OTAs, and he had a slow start to camp in terms of total volume of reps. And I always say this: one game rep, I think, is nearly as good as 3 practice reps. That's how it is in the music world. And when I play music, one show is worth 3 practices, basically rehearsals. Something akin to that is going on, and I think so. They're trying to catch him up, get him good looks against actual other competition, not necessarily practice reps. And I think that's a good thing. Do you see Hardman being the number 2 receiver? I mean, he's already the second most in terms of potential, right? If you mean, is he the X that lines up on the line of scrimmage? I don't necessarily buy that, but I think he'll get more than he got last year. I saw him 3 consecutive plays today, I think it was, or 3 out of 4 anyway, where he was the outside guy in a 3-by-1, and he actually had press and he got loose. So I'm okay with that. I think that's something he has to grow into. And if this is the year that he makes the leap and can beat consistent man pressure, I think that's great. Bobby, does Tim Ward have more impact this year? He may. He was with the threes with Kano today. It just depends how many they keep. He could be on the roster. He could be on the practice squad. I don't see anything that's definitive for him yet. If midseason rolls around and Niang is a solid right tackle, Schwartz is declared healthy, would you want to bring him back and let Niang keep the job? I'd bring Mitch back if he's capable of playing no matter what. It doesn't mean that I have to slate him in there right away. But I'm not sure that this season is something that can get to. If Mitch can rehab all the way back, I think it might take longer than this season. And he has to announce his intentions. We don't know. I know he's open to it, but I don't know if he's intending to it or if he's even progressed to that point. Well, how hot was the heat index today? Was there any 11? Yeah, there are 2 11 out of 11 sessions that I saw. I didn't check the heat index. I would put it in the low 90s. I think the temperature was in the low 80s. I don't know. It's all warm and muggy to me, so I'm not really the guy to estimate it. Based on what you've seen in camps and game one, has essentially swapping Breland for Hughes been a good move? Wasn't a straight swap, but basically. I think obviously you got younger, and I think you got more versatility. Shaw's a great physical press corner. Can he go into the nickel? No. So instantly you get somebody that if Snead goes down and you don't have your best corner, your jack of all trades, that you have multiple guys that can play the nickel and outside, and that's good. So yeah, overall, I would say it's probably a wash. Do you think LDT makes the 53? I do. Do you see Hughes on the 53? And will he be a returner? Yes, he will be on the 53, absolutely. And yes, I think he will be a returner, although that's not set in stone. Let's see. Edward, when PM throws a screen to Clyde and Clyde gets creamed, is that an error on the coach, or PM should address? The coach or GM should address? I don't remember seeing that, but usually that is a plus play by the defender. Maybe that means the line missed something. Maybe the design of the play or the execution of the play gave something away that allowed somebody to trigger early. There's a lot of things you have to look at on the film. Let's see. Ian, is Neiman looking better? Yes. He looks more athletic. I did see him get beat up in a run play today. That was like a physical thing. I think it was Orlando that came and got him. I can't remember. But he looks like he moves better, and that's key. Looks like I missed something from DTKC. DT, I'll try to catch up to it. And Aaron will help you too. Sorry for you guys that super chatted before I got on. I apologize. I can't see those. What will it take for Willie and Bolton to be one of the best linebacker duos in the league? It will take Willie being able to key on everything. And even though he doesn't have to call the defense, he has to be able to recognize and explain the defense to everyone. He has to help make the adjustments. Bolton has to be solid, not just in zone drops. He has to be able to take some man, and he has to be able to get into a gap and hold his own against pulling guards and against bigger backs. They're going to see Derrick Henry this year. That's going to be a test for whoever the backers are. Is Neiman looking better? Yes. Answered that one. Is Ward's job in jeopardy from Hughes or Baker? No. Who could be on the trading block? I thought it was Wiley. I don't think so now. Could it be one of the tight ends? It's a possibility. That's really all I have, to tell you the truth. I don't think there's a whole lot of trade block guys right now. Longmorn, thank you for the super chat. Could D-Rob be worth a late 5th or 6th? I don't think so. I think if he was, he would have gotten a contract outside of the organization, and he didn't. So I really don't think the market's there for that. Excuse me, guys. Let's see. Alex, who's impressed you so far from the UDFA signings? I mean, obviously, Key jumping in with the ones has been a progression. Of the UDFAs, I think the guy that stands out the most to me is Boodle. I do think he has upside at multiple positions, so I think he makes practice squad pretty much no matter what. Remember, everybody, it took Powell 4 years to crack the lineup at Clemson. Yeah, but that's a different situation. And quite frankly, the NFL is not Clemson. I don't know that you can equate those two situations. OT was depressing to watch. Oh, it was depressing to watch Bushell.
Which train do we send him out on? Pono, he's a guy. He can improve still. He can make a mark. Do I think that he makes his team? No. I think he ends up being released. I think Gordon ends up on the practice squad and Henry's your only backup. I think that's just the way that it goes. But it doesn't mean that he can't play the game. He can certainly help someone else, just not a Super Bowl caliber roster is my guess. How's Bolton looking? And he'll be our first and second string linebackers. It'll be Willie and Hitch. After that, the third guy will always be Neiman unless there's an injury to one of the top three, and then it'll be Bolton. The question will be Darius Harris, Cobb, DOD, special teams roles. How do they get on the roster? Who do they keep? That's the big questions, Brandon. Any Chiefs player that isn't being talked about that should be. Derek Nottie looks great, looks trim, looks more explosive, and is holding his own. I think that's one. Dan Sorensen is solid. He's not all world, but he's still solid. I don't think age has caught him yet. He's slowing, but he's not slow. Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce, and we pretty much talked the snot out of the offensive line. So I don't know. Are there Chiefs players that you think are overrated? I think the expectations sometimes are, but no, I'm not going to say that. Saunders and Watts on the bubble, hitting any craft beer joints in KC. Yes. Managed to swing by Boulevard. Alma Mater, I'm sorry you're not open during the week. I missed you over the weekend, and that's really high on my list to go to next time, and I'll probably find some others. Saunders is not on the bubble. Watts is. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the support. Let's see. Already asked my question, but thanks. I will do that. Oh, it is almost top of the hour, Charlie. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, and your support. Any chance we trade Blythe for a low round pick and use Algray as the backup center? There is definitely a possibility. I just don't know if there's a market for Blythe. I didn't hear of him having other offers on the table in free agency, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a trade market. We will find out. Last couple super chats, and we'll call it a night, you guys. Thank you for being here. May have missed it. Any concerns with Gray after the preseason? I don't think so. Just a little bit of nerves, it looked like to me. Welcome to the NFL kind of stuff. Let's see what he does here in this next game. I bet you he'll take a step forward and try to relax a little bit. I think he'll be successful. Is he going to be Travis Jr.? No, I don't think he ever was, but I think he has a role to play in this offense, and I think it will grow as the season goes on as well. It might be a slow start, but I think it'll be fine. Don, I feel like Mahomes' third down pass to Hardman highlights their problem. They're never on the same page, and will McColl ever be the number two? That's the big question. They have to get down to it. Is the game day thing? Is it a concentration? What is it? I think they will. Gold Tal, thank you for the support. Was at the game. Chris Jones was bigger than I thought, and he looks like he's already ready a wrecking ball, wreck shop. He definitely will, and he definitely is. Jimmy, watch 95 set the edge and stay home on plays versus the Niners, watching the cutback. Sure enough, it came. Back looked at Chris and ran in the middle and got stoned. Yeah, absolutely. He also has times where he's going to get optioned and some other things. They're going to be a little bit rougher, but yeah, good start. Hassan, no change on Frank Clark. Southpaw, we'll end with you. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. Check out the store, like, sub, and hit the bell if you're new here. Camp reports, some stuff from Dan this week. I should be back in my home studio by the Thursday night stream for CTIN. What do you think about Dorian O'Donnell? I think he's in a fight for a role. I think he can do it. I just don't know if he will. So keep an eye on him. See what he does with his reps. I think he got third at linebacker, third team. We'll see what he does. So that said, thank you all for being here. Thank you for the patience and the grace with me being late and having issues. I will be back with you tomorrow. Check the Twitter. I'll try to put up a short vid here. I might even just do a quick live after practice. And then we have content from Dan and the rest of us all going forward. I hope that you guys have a great day. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you next time.